We now have a panel on some of the strategies to transition commercial vehicle fleets to electric power. Leading this discussion and to do the introductions, please give a very warm welcome to Mahdi Ben Mrad, who is the SVP of AlixPartners. A very warm welcome. Right, to save a bit of time, I'm going to pull up your panel for you. So it's a very warm welcome as well. Please do try and sit underneath your pictures if you can, as much as you can. Please give a very warm welcome to Somayyah Alyammahi, who is the Head of Productivity Projects and the Demand Management Section at the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. A very warm welcome. Thanks for being here. Please welcome Kivanc Karayol, who is the Market Director at Volvo Group. A very warm welcome. We have Ognjen Jovanovic, who is eTrucks Manager at Daimler Commercial Vehicles for the MENA region. A very warm welcome. Matej Smrekar is the Vice President of TAM-Europe, who also joins us. And rounding out our panel is Gaurav Biswas, who is the founder and CEO of TruKKer. Let's give them a nice warm welcome. Lovely to have you here. And please, yes, try and sit underneath your photos if you can. Lovely. Perfect. Mahdi, it's over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be moderating this important panel discussion on the electrification of commercial vehicles. As you know, the total road transport emissions are around 6 gigatons of CO2, and nearly 50% of this comes from the commercial vehicles, either light, very light commercial vehicles, or medium to heavy trucks and the buses. So for sure, if we want to address the global warming and reduce the global emissions and reach the aggressive net zero targets by 2050, then we need to address the commercial vehicles. This topic is not addressed that much. We talk more about the passenger vehicles, but this is an important topic that needs to be discussed. And that's why we have this exceptional panel. We already presented everyone, so thank you very much and welcome. So I will start with you, Kivanc. So can you give us a brief on the current status globally on the electrification of commercial vehicles, and how does this compare to the passengers vehicles?
Well, globally, I think it might be a little bit difficult, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about some specific regions, maybe America, Europe, and Asia or Middle East. That's where I'm based at and where I'm running the business. But obviously, I mean, there are some continents like North America, Europe are quite fast when it comes to the electrification and moving on to the electromobility journey. Obviously, in the passenger cars, we see a much faster transaction, or the pace is much faster than the commercial vehicles. And maybe we also need to divide the commercial vehicles into a couple of different segments. So I think Nadia was mentioning about that. Obviously, I mean, there are quite different platforms, or there are quite different levels when it comes to the commercial vehicles. I mean, we can talk about over 16 tons. We can talk about the construction equipments, excavators. We can talk about the buses or the trucks or the vans or the light duty vehicles or the medium duty vehicles. So obviously, when it comes to the commercial vehicles, we can speak and go back to the passenger cars. But the more that you go to the higher levels, obviously the energy requirements is getting higher, not only on the vehicle itself, but also on the charging infrastructure. So we are not only talking about the kilowatts, but hundreds of kilowatts charging infrastructure capacity, or even the megawatts charging infrastructure capacity is required. So obviously, the more you go up, it becomes a little bit challenging when it comes to the commercials. And again, I will just back up on what Nadia recently said in the previous conversation or in her presentation. At least we as Volvo Group can be just only open to our customers and to the society right now. Unfortunately, there is no financial feasibility. Yet it doesn't mean that the customers or the organizations should not go for that, because it's more or less like a chicken and egg situation. So, I mean, of course, in one way, we believe that the financial feasibility will be there and it will be commercially viable. And obviously, by the moment that when it comes, that there is a commercial feasibility or financial feasibility in the commercial vehicles, obviously you will probably not see any fossil fuel engines. But I think there are a couple of reasons why passenger cars are moving faster than commercial vehicles. Obviously, I think no-brainer, the amount of the passenger cars worldwide is much, much more than the commercial vehicles. I think the gap between electric vehicles on the passenger cars and the fossil fuel passenger cars in terms of pricing or in terms of initial affordability is much lesser. Emotions are involved. I'm not saying that when it comes to the commercial vehicles, emotions are not involved, but I think the name already suggests itself. Customers, fleet owners, organizations, or institutions are going for commercial vehicles just to generate money. So the involvement of the emotions, I would say, on the commercial vehicles are a little bit less. Yep. In short, if I need to wrap up, obviously commercial vehicles requires a much more complex environment and ecosystem than the passenger cars. And last but not the least, probably it's the financial feasibility, as we keep on saying.
Okay, thank you, Kivanc. Thank you for this overview globally. So we see that the electrification is it's going a little bit slow.
Well, I mean, we can also define that. How we define the slow or how we define the fast. Obviously, I mean, all these companies, in the previous presentation, we also have seen a lot of SBT-signed companies like Unilever, Schneider Electric, and many others, if I remember the names correctly. I mean, we all know the fact that it's not just going to happen in one day. I mean, UAE, maybe when the time comes, Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure Organization will also tell all these targets and plannings, but we did not target to make everything just overnight. So right now, I would say that we are having baby steps, or we are crawling, and then obviously we will start walking, and then we are quite pretty sure that the day will come that we will be running in this journey.
Okay, great. So I will move to you, Mr. Gaurav. You are the CEO of TruKKer. So this is a platform that connects the fleet owners, the fleet operators with the clients. So you have a good view on the fleet owners and operators. And can you tell us about how the electrification is going on in the region? And what are the main concerns that you see within the fleet operators?
Sure. I think from the regional perspective, I think let me put some context. I think the first speaker presented EACA, and the COP28 and all of those things. So for the region, I think it's extremely important. The overall electrification or transformation from internal combustion engine to, a hydrogen, electric, all of those things. So I think we're sitting in the right region with the right action that is available right from the top of the government, as long as they can align commercially. I think the second part, what you were mentioning around the commercial viability. I think because of that aspect and the other technicalities of a complex infrastructure and all of that, the region is pretty much, at a stage zero. I think commercial vehicles electrification, to answer your question, is zero. Everybody has tried out some of those EACA members, and I think a lot of them are TruKKer clients where we provide their long-haul services and have a significant wallet share. They are the ones who are motivated, but then commercially it is not making sense, and with all the complexity, so very few of them have done very symbolic kind of investments. So I think from that perspective, the region, by the way, what we have studied now within TruKKer, we have a cell called Atomics, which is on new energy vehicles, brand agnostic, use case agnostic. They've done multiple use cases, right from e-commerce, long haul, short haul, last mile, all the way to moving cement and steel and petrochemicals on long haul. So, and they've come up with a bunch of use cases which make financial sense in the UAE right now, not so much in Saudi Arabia, but the UAE where the cost of diesel is pretty much non-subsidized and reflects the international oil prices. We make commercial sense to electrify, and I say electrify and not hydrogen because I think even the first speaker mentioned it's quite a distant away to make it commercially viable as a technology. But in electrification, people can save money. Now the complexities again come, can you electrify the large transporter and the EACA member kind of clients if they can see an operating cost advantage over the period of 3, 5, 6 years? So they would be ready to make a CapEx investment now or a higher investment right now because they're motivated, financially smart, but then the rest of the transportation sector, which is the majority of the transportation sector, which TruKKer also works with thousands of them. These guys are not that. They are not EACA members. They don't have a sustainability cell. They do not have the technical abilities to understand and create their own infrastructure and electrify over a long term, all of those things. They need to get somebody to make the infrastructure investment, and they need to, I think, and somebody has to move first. I think that's one of the things, the atomic cell in TruKKer, they are right now rolling out 300 electric vehicles between now and end of next year. So pilots are, so we've done a lot of customization. We evaluated 97 OEMs across the world. We shortlisted to 12, then we did customization with a bunch of them. But we went back from the starting point, which again, commercially, clients will not pay more for their delivery if you are delivering with an electric vehicle. Clients will not pay more for transportation per ton just because you're moving that tonnage of cargo by electric vehicles. And that's, again, TruKKer being an aggregator, we are very exposed to exactly what the biggest steel producer and the e-commerce distributor, what is their tolerance. So we worked backwards, and then we selected some OEMs who are going to go through the summer testing here, and they've done, some of them have already done one cycle of the summer testing, and then we roll out where we take the whole obligation of investing in the charging infrastructure for those 300 vehicles, making sure it is brand agnostic, and we try out multiple brands, taking the risk of the long-term salvage value and all of those things. So we'll offer it as a lease. Clients can choose to take a 1 month, lease, 6-month lease. We'll take the whole liability of, what is the depreciation, things that the transporter thinks around and cannot take a judgment call right now. We'll take all of those judgment calls, and then we'll give the data to enable people maybe year 2. And if this works in Dubai, UAE, then it starts working in Jordan, which also has, same Turkey. We are spread across Turkey, and we're very closely watching how electrification can work in Turkey.
Thank you, Gaurav. So we understand that at the end, the decision to move to electric trucks is not easy, and the fleet owners take rational decisions, and if the business case for the electric trucks is not there, it will be difficult to enhance the electrification.
I think on that point, I think the other important aspect, again, from a regional perspective, the regulators, the government ministries in the region are quite advanced in terms of knowledge. And once they get aligned, I think decision-making also, I think the UAE specifically, can be quite fast. And then the private sector investment and all of those things, it's a very small ecosystem. People can really take decisions quickly. What we're trying to do is to take the, not wait for private versus public. Okay. Go ahead and make the business case, proof of concept. I think all of that will very quickly build up, So that's another thing that the UAE or these regions should not fall prey to. Private sector must not wait for public sector. Public sector should not wait for, will there be enough demand if we put in so many charges? I think both of them, need to, and some of us will give them the data to further enable that.
Okay. I will move to you, Ognjen. So you are representing an OEM. What are today the technologies and the models that are developed by OEMs for the trucks? And what is the ideal operating model? What is the ideal business case or situation for each of these main technologies?
Sure. Before I start, let me first greet all the other panelists and you, dear participants. I think this is a great platform because here we have OEMs, Matej, Kivanc, me. We have also the regulators representing the market in a different sense, and of course the fleet operators. I think that this is the right platform. This is the right panel that we address any topic related to electrification. Coming to your question, you were asking about the technologies and the products and the applications, and of course, what are the ideal cases for usage. Let me start by technology, because it will give me a little bit of the midterm to long-term strategy point of view. What you are seeing now here is, of course, the vehicles which are battery electric. What will come in the future is the electric vehicle which is hydrogen-based. So unlike the vehicle where the energy carrier is the electron on the battery electric vehicles, there will be two different technologies introduced as we approach the next decade. which will be hydrogen-based. We'll have the hydrogen fuel cell, and we'll have hydrogen internal combustion engines. These technologies are still something which is still positioned in the mid to long term. Presently, we as the OEM in truck world, I guess when I speak, I have to also be aware of the market situation in terms of the other offerings. Vehicles are available to cater the applications which are long distance haulage. I will speak about the eActros 600. The vehicle is able to carry the load of 40 tons over the distance of 500 kilometers without intermediate charge. This is the state-of-the-art technology which we're able to offer. Also, we have two different types of products for the short-distance transportation. The vehicles which can carry, depending on the battery setup, 300 or 400 kilometers range. Also one vehicle which is specially designed for two specific applications, waste management and airport applications. These are the segments where users can find the most benefits because of the predictable routes for the waste management, because of the infrastructure availability on the airfield applications, to name a few. And last but not least, I guess it was mentioned also before, the last mile delivery, where Daimler Truck, my company, also has a brand called Fuso, where the e-canter is available for the last mile distribution. Depending on the battery setup, this vehicle can go to up to 200 kilometers range. Now, when we come to this question about the infrastructure use case scenarios, I believe that with the investment in the infrastructure, we will have more and more opportunities for the long-distance transportation. This is something what needs to be built upon. This is something what needs to be enabled, especially because if you know that 500 kilometers and more sometimes mean also the transportation within GCC, that we will be also having cross-border transportation, so we have to have unified offerings on the chargers here and on the other sides of the border. In a nutshell, I believe that we are here to offer the diverse portfolio, that we analyze the customer needs, and that we find the solutions that meet best the customer needs and answer those needs in the most efficient, most safe, and most sustainable way with our portfolio. I think that this is the message which all of us as OEMs have to embody, and I'm sure that we are embodying it, and that this is something what we are bringing to the market in this bigger perspective where we have the market looked from at least 3 different points of view.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ognjen. I will ask the same question to Mr. Matej. So you are representing an OEM with the focus here on the buses. What are the different models that are today provided by OEMs, and what is the ideal use case? And if you can show us how the ecosystem should look like and how the operating model can work in an ideal world.
So from my side, greetings to everyone. Also my colleagues here. I think you have already done, let's say, a lot of jobs, so I don't need to speak a lot. So nevertheless, we have a bit, so my opinion is a bit added to yours here. So of course, we have from one side, everybody would like to be electric. From the other side, we want to be ecological friendly, we want to save our planet, etc., etc. So this is one aspect which we are following, each of us, yeah, in personal. But here, I think that the whole ecosystem needs to be changed. So let's say like in Europe, you know, from the past, they started with subventions. The subvention was one time. So if you will buy a diesel unit for 250, you get 250 additional subvention from the government to just to change to EV, yeah, and then. So let's say like in Italy. But nevertheless, these are all the steps which Europe has tried to do how to stimulate the business, yeah? So the commerce, and to change the view concerning the diesel, so the ECE and the EV buses or trucks or whatever. So here Then the next step was when they saw that this is not working, they has done some triggers. Yeah? So triggers in the city center, you should not go inside, etc., etc. So all of those things, I think that the right way for UAE, of course, it's something in the middle. Yeah? So to find your own way how to stimulate the business. Of course, public companies are something different, so there must be and it must be. But how to stimulate it, it should be their own way. So the personal way, which will work for UAE, of course, is, I don't know, maybe to forbid the city center with ECEs. You know, so something which will influence on the thinking that the operation can be damaged of the companies. If this is the right way or not, I think we should not judge here, yeah, so because it should be everything free, but nevertheless, to provide them with all the, of course, infrastructure, facilities, everything, I think that it's not enough that the companies will change overnight, that they will not like to be electric, yeah, so because you have a lot of things which are different, so you need to plan the drivers need to plan how they will charge it. It's not like ECEs, yeah, you just the back is empty, you go and fill it. So in the end, it should be something different which will, let's say, cause this trigger in the mindset, how to improve it. And on the other side, of course, like colleague said, the cost benefit is on the side of the user. So if let's say the drivers, the operational, let's say managers, they don't want to change from one side, from the other side, the owners of the business, they want to change because the cost is zero. Yeah? If you, let's say, do ROI, it will, of course, be quite quicker. Yeah? If with some subventions, of course, on the end, it's a good plus. So this is from concerning the infrastructure and how we see it. Concerning the future of the new technologies, of course, we are now limited what we know. We know EV, we know hydrogen, which we are all developing, we are testing, we are trying to implement on the market. But on the end, maybe none of those two. Yeah. So energy-wise, we need to figure out, or let's say we all need to try to figure out something, or we need to figure out the better batteries, let's say less charging time or whatever. So something which will help the end user to be each day and each year better, quicker, faster, I don't know, to have more cost reduction on their business and so on. So here I think that it's a way, so we are all going on this way, so of course, what this way will show us, of course, some markets are a bit advanced here, some markets not. Europe is also not the perfect one that you will understand. Yeah, so in Europe, the infrastructure is the main issue, which is even not solvable till now. But nevertheless, so we are all going on the same way. So of course, to make our living better on the end, without emissions, and we will see what will bring us. Huh?
Yeah, thank you, Matej. I will move to you, Somayyah. Yes. So you are representing the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. What are today the concrete initiatives that are launched by the ministry and in general by the government to promote and to support the electrification of commercial vehicles?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahdi, for this great opportunity and this great platform actually to share all our effort and to see any possibility of collaboration between our government as well as the business sector. So moving to the answering the questions, as you know that the UAE have been actively pursuing that initiative to enhance the electrification of all the EV vehicles as part of sustainability as well as the energy goal. So in 2021, we announced one program that is it can be as an enabler for the UAE energy strategy to 2050. We called it the National UAE Demand Side Management 2050. That actually is targeting the most consumed sector in the UAE, such as the agriculture, the building, industrial, as well as the transportation sector. So the main target that we reduce the energy consumption around 40%, as well as the water reduction to reach 50% until 2050. So underneath, we have a lot of initiatives. One of them are green mobility project and targeting the transportation sector. So our main KPI is that to reduce around 40% of energy consumption in this sector. And also to increase the EV or open the market for EV market in UAE. So we are targeting 3 different, let's say, vehicle types, such as the passenger vehicle. We are aiming to increase the sales of the in the UAE to around to achieve 50% of EV and around 25% of plug-in EV. Also, we're considering all type of the buses, such as the public transport, worker buses, as well as the school buses. We are aiming to reach in 2050 the total sales of the EV to reach around 70%, and also the other main consumed, let's say, vehicle, it is the truck. So this is also under our consideration. So we have to increase, or the main KPI is to increase the sales around 10% of plug-in EV, as well as 40% in hybrid. To move to the main deliverables, let's say, about the Green Mobility project, we have a list of the projects that announced. First of all, we announced the national guideline for installing electrical vehicle charging station. This is aimed to unify all the specification and method of installing the charger for EV. Also, we announced the national EV policy. As well, we are now working on establishing the first EV battery recycling facility in the region with the private sector and research institute. Also, we work in detail with the MOIAT to specify and detail standard and specification for the different type of the charger, such as the AC and DC charger. Also, we opened the market for the UAE around to 10 different companies in the market of the UAE, and this definitely helped us to increase around the number of the charging station 40% at the end of the year. As you know, also the last things I want to mention here, that in the beginning of this great summit, we announced about the pioneering joint venture, which is the UAE Electric Vehicle Charging Station Company. We called it the UAEV. This actually aims to provide fast and advanced electric vehicle infrastructure in the UAE. Also, it is like embodies the strength between our partnership between the government as well as the business sector or private sector. And I want also to mention that it will meet all the growing demand of EV in the UAE, as well as the establishing the good infrastructure for all the EV charger across the different Emirates. And definitely it will be one of the enablers to achieve the UAE vision and the green future. Our main target, or let's say the KPIs we want to achieve, that at the end of the 2024, we will offer more than 100 public charging stations across the UAE, and at the end of the 2030, we will have more than 1,000 stations across the UAE. Thank you.
Thank you, Somayyah. One question I think comes here, the charging infrastructure here. So I think we have passenger cars, we have commercial vehicles. Do we have specific charging infrastructure for commercial and specific for public, or both they will compete on the same
Actually,
infrastructure?
it is all, it will be work for all different type. This is to work within the specification and standard we have. So the charger station, the EV charging will be work for all the type of the vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Somayyah. So for the second round of questions, I will, so you can take two minutes to answer, or 2 to 3 minutes. I will address first the questions to OEMs. Start with you, Kivanc. How do you think now the OEMs can do more to support the electrification of commercial vehicles? Any innovative technologies? What are today the main challenges that you are facing to reduce the cost of the electric vehicles?
I think, of course, I mean, obviously I do represent Volvo Group, but maybe partly I can also speak in the name of the industry, because it's not only a specific problem for one specific brand. So that's a problem for the industry, that's a challenge for the industry. So we were mentioning about the ranges, but without going into so much in numerical details and without making the audience feel bored, I can tell that at the current range, whatever the commercial vehicle organizations or the brands are capable of providing is much lesser than internal combustion engines ranges. So it's a product challenge. Whatever the capacity of carrying goods, I mean, Ognjen was talking about 40 tons, 50, 60, whatever is that, but the maximum capacity is still much lesser than all these brands are capable of providing when it comes to their ICE, internal combustion engine offerings. Initial investment costs, I mean, when we usually say that there is no financial feasibility, or when we are explaining that, it just only boils down to the initial investment costs. So all these three factors, I think, needs to be solved together, of course, in UAE specific with the help of the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. I think I just would like to echo on what Ognjen was saying. If we do that, we have to do it together with the local authorities like Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. And I think we should be extremely happy to have such kind of an organization. I mean, this is not the first platform, and I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last platform that we will be having all these conversations. But in short, if I need to summarize, there are some product developments are required on each and every brand or in each and every organization. Initial investment cost needs to be coming down. And obviously some external factors, because some of those companies, I mean, there's a joint venture even between Daimler Truck and Mercedes-Benz, Volvo Trucks in Europe, setting up the charging infrastructure. But under normal circumstances, if you take that as an external party, due to your job, obviously the charging infrastructure together with the local authorities needs to be in place. In short, TruKKer representative was saying that obviously, I think this culture or this financial incentive or whatever you say it, awareness, I don't know how to call it, but under normal circumstances, whomever is transporting your goods with internal combustion engines will receive the same funds or will receive the same rates if you are to transfer their goods with alternative fuels, electric vehicle, or hydrogen. So if this also starts to change, maybe with some local incentives or local initiatives within the countries or within the regions that we are running the business, these kind of things, of course, will accelerate. So just in short, I think products needs to get better, costs needs to come down. We also need to work a little bit closer with the external parties and rule makers. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Kivanc. I will ask the same question to you, Ognjen.
Yeah, sure. Just like it was mentioned, if we want to succeed, if we want to be successful on this journey, we can only succeed together. All of us, the fleet operators, us as OEMs, charging manufacturers, and the market in whole. One of the things which we are doing to succeed together is exactly what we are doing here today. We are here to enable that everybody understands their role and that we are all able to contribute. I guess it's clear to say that we have diverse product portfolio, that we are working also on the infrastructure development on our own. We are developing new technologies. I would just highlight one more point, which is probably a common denominator for all of us. We are working on the customer trials. We are trying to integrate the customer in the product development as soon as possible. Because to understand the customer needs, to understand the needs of their customers, specifics of their operation, and to try it on our products, the best way to do it is in the customer trials. So there are many examples of successful implementation of these trials across European markets, and we are trying to do this also elsewhere around the globe. So I believe that if we have managed to do something today on this panel discussion, is that we all have to be working jointly as an industry together with the support from the regulators and, of course, helping the customers succeed on this transformation journey.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go to Mr. Matej. I would like to focus here on the electrification of the public transport.
Okay.
So this deals a lot with the public sector, with the government strategies. Based on your experience, how do you think, what are the initiatives and what are the strategies, the best strategies that can apply in order to accelerate the electrification of public transport?
So, yeah, first of all the cities, as you understand, worldwide, they want to be electric, of course, yeah? So, as we already mentioned in the first round, these CO2 emissions are, let's say, something which we all want to eliminate. On the other side, all big cities, they want to be sky-free, yeah? So it means that some of the transportation systems which was in the past 20, 30 years, they're not working anymore. So here, the major thing is to provide the system, the operation, to provide the system to work. So it means infrastructure. So this is the basic. So if you don't have a car, you cannot drive. This is the main philosophy. So a lot of different approaches here we have done. So we have, in Europe, we are quite active on this field. Now in Italy, let's say. It's depending on which kind of infrastructure is the best for the customer. So, of course, from our studies, which we have done together with universities, the best is to charge it as often as possible. Let's say now we are discussing about the EV, so you don't need to carry a battery, you can carry passenger, etc., etc. So the best will be to charge it in each station. This is hypothetically the best one. So if it's feasible, of course it's not, because you need to have infrastructure, you need to damage all the roads, everything, to put the infrastructure on the bus station, I don't know, with inductive charging, which you don't need anything on the end. And this, of course, is based on a lot of CapEx, as we heard. Yeah. So here, what is the right way? We are still developing. So we are still developing together with different approaches, with different tenders globally, which direction they are going. Of course, we all know that the operation with EC buses in public transportation is not the same like in EV, yeah, or the hydrogen, then the next step, which it is. So, of course, when the infrastructure will be done, then, let's say, it's quite easy to change it. Yeah? When the infrastructure is not done, this is the major topic which we, with all the government, need to think of, how to implement the infrastructure, and based on that, then electrify all the fleets.
Thank you, Matej. I move to you, Gaurav. So you are somehow the voice of the fleet owners, and you heard all the, let's say, initiatives. What are the other initiatives that you think will have a great impact on the fleet owners to really think and to decide to shift to electric vehicles?
Yeah, I think we can certainly be the voice of the transportation sector for the markets that we are in. We see the Poland, Europe market, we see Turkey, CIS market, we see the entire GCC, Egypt, all of those markets, and every market has certain dynamics. But I think for electrification, the first barrier is the price and the capex. So the financing, again, not for the large fleet owners, but the mass of the market is a barrier. The second is the charging infrastructure. You know, I think everybody's highlighted that enough. And if you look at the use case of China, Whether it is passenger vehicle or it is commercial vehicle, the subsidies and investments into EV started in 2008, 2009. And if you see the adoption of EV curve versus the subsidy is actually inverse. The subsidies have reduced since 2016, 17, and the adoption post-corona has actually been super high. But subsidy has constantly been going down, and now it is negligible. And it makes commercial sense. So second is the infrastructure, I think, which somebody needs to not take a call of subsidy. In the UAE, there's no need of subsidy. There's just need the ability to take the risk that, yes, we'll put so many, and Somayyah mentioned 1,000 charges. I think those need to happen. And the third problem is the complexity. The transporter does not want a complex system. If he wants to have 100 trucks or 20 vans, he doesn't want to have 20 charging cables like I would have for my Tesla at home charging overnight. He doesn't want that, because I would say, hey, if I'm going to go to Ras Al Khaimah, I can't take my Tesla, because I don't want to have the complexity of waiting somewhere and finding on an app, even if there was a Tesla charging network like the US has, or parts of Western Europe has. So I think that is the third part. And that's where commercial vehicles, the first one, the capex, the price, is extremely important. Because in cars, I would buy, for example, with no disrespect or bias, a Model Y is very similar to a Toyota Camry, but a Toyota Camry is 40% cheaper, or in that segment. But somebody would buy a Model Y because they're driven personally to have an electric car, make a difference to the climate, and all of those things. You can't do that in commercial vehicles. You will not subsidize because you have to generate a P&L. There is a shareholder who wants the returns. And so yes, utilization, I think you pointed out, utilization, efficiency, and all of that, but the price has to be right, which hydrogen is far off, and I think EV, and then again, I think we have OEMs here from Europe, but China is significantly beating it. I think commercial vehicle, whatever BYD and some of the Chinese brands are doing in the passenger car segment, the reality is the same thing is happening in the commercial vehicle segment. The price differential, because of their supply chain advantage, and pretty much the same technical quality. When I was telling earlier that we have a team that's evaluated OEMs across the world, and I'll give an example of charging infrastructure, so I'm not sensitive to the trucks. A charging pillar manufactured in Western Europe or North America versus a charging pillar manufactured in China, the price difference is $200 versus $80. Again, these are not real numbers, these are just hypothetical numbers. That the other one is 2.5 times. The $200 one has 99% uptime, and the $80 one has 97.5% uptime. Now, which one makes more commercial sense? So I think that is going to happen in EV trucks as well, and I think that's where I think the whole ecosystem building, whether you are which OEM, I think everybody right now needs to make the investment. Over time, things have to become competitive for everybody. Western European, American, Chinese, everybody's competing on the electric vehicle. On the passenger car, they would compete in the trucks. But right now, I think we need to forget that. And I think, again, from a trucker perspective, our initiative is brand agnostic, origin agnostic. We want to push it as a solution.
Thank you, Gaurav. So I will end with you, Somayyah. In your opinions, you heard all these challenges, all these suggestions. In your opinion, generally speaking, what are the other initiatives and what can the government do more, let's say, in the future to support the electrification of electric commercial vehicles?
Yes, thank you. Due to the shortage of that time, I can mention two main things or two main points. The first one, we have all of us, like a private sector, the public even, the EV owners, and as well as the government, to work on a comprehensive incentive program for all to enhance the EV market in the UAE. And second things that we should work also on an awarenesses campaign that targeting exactly, or so we set like a target to achieve to educate all the users, the fleet operators, the private sector about the importance of the EV in our community, the benefit of it economically or even environmentally. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks to all our panelists. Floor to the audience if you have any questions. Only one? Wow, okay. Maybe you can take two, three questions at the same time, and we try to be... Okay. Yes.
I'll make this quick. I've heard various stakeholders talk over the past 2 days. I was also here when His Excellency came in and spoke about the UAE EV policy from a government perspective. My question to Ms. Somayyah particularly is, what are the risks or concerns that the government has regarding introducing EV in a much shorter time? Because in a country like UAE, which is smaller, which has so much of very good leadership, everything happens fast. Somehow you feel, I got the feeling that the EV roadmap is a little drawn out. So are there concerns because of which you feel that we should go slow? Thank you.
Thank you for this great question. As I mentioned, our aim that to be a globally leader country in this sector. So I think, in my opinion, to build an efficient infrastructure that meet all the demand, because now the UAE is like a hub of the EV. So we should work an efficient time to make all the infrastructure and all the specification as efficient as possible to cover all these, the specification or all the concerns. This is can answer the question. When we work, the efficient is more than categorized across different areas.
Okay. Maybe just one last question, or two? Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Bjørn Utgård. I'm from Norway. I'll be in the panel afterwards, so I'll be brief. In Norway and in other markets, you've seen local governments being crucial for driving electrification of commercial vehicles by either setting requirements for public tenders for buses. For example, in Oslo, all the buses are all electric, and that's driven exclusively by public tenders. In the Netherlands, you have zero-emission zones that are driving the deployment of distribution vehicles. And I'm wondering if you can see any of the patterns of those going on locally, where with either it's municipal governments or property developers that are setting requirements that the vehicles in this that enter this zone have to be zero emission, or if there are public procurement processes that require that. I'd like to hear your views. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's yeah.
Maybe I can just give an answer to that question, but please, feel free to interrupt me. I know the fact that RTA, Road Transport and Authority, actually just recently released a tender for 40 units, full electric buses. And I know the fact that, again, RTA have tried electric, 100% electric buses, I think 2 years back. So I know those test results, and since they were satisfactory, or it was satisfactory, they just wanted to expand their fleet sizes. Is 40 good enough? Probably not. Probably not, because I know the fact that I think their total fleets for the public buses or the transportation is more than 1,000 units. So obviously it's not going to, but at the same time, I mean, as being a resident of this country more than a decade and happily living since then, I think we have been in the forefront in many of those kind of activities, including the electromobility and electrification journey. Of course, government authorities, including RTA, Dubai Taxi Corporation, and many other entities, can take even more initiatives. And maybe going back a little bit just to the previous question, look, if you have that question, or if you ask that question to the privately owned companies, or like public companies, Daimler or Volvo, our senior management will probably go crazy because they want us to sell thousands of electric vehicles or thousands of hydrogen trucks, buses, passenger cars, whatever is that on each and every country. So definitely they will not understand if you are going fast or slow. It's a complex ecosystem, really. It depends on several different factors. But just in short, I mean, just as a resident, I mean, not representing any of those privately owned companies, I sincerely appreciate what UAE is doing. And there's always definitely a room for improvements, and not only on the buses, obviously on the passenger cars and many other initiatives. But obviously, I think UAE is definitely the forefront organization country in the whole Middle East.
Thank you so much. And also I want to mention that one initiatives that come in my mind now. We are working actually to, within all the government to change all the schools buses to be all of it EV 100% by end of the 2030. So I think this is also go in parallel with all the different type of EVs and support all the national road. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. If no questions, so thank you very much.